And this is Black Leave America podcast, where we highlight holistic wellness, travel, mental health, and self-care through traveling outside of America to reconnect and rediscover who you are. It's time for us to leave any condition that disrupts our peace. Black Women Leave America opens your eyes and explores new ways of living, but more importantly, new ways of being. Because sometimes you have to leave in order to find yourself. Hey y'all, welcome to Black Women Leave America podcast. This is the live edition. We had a little bit of a break, just a little bit of self-care break. But we are still here in Black History Month, and today we are coming to you with some savings. So on the day of the, what are we calling this? The blackout, boycott, something where we're supposed to be boycotting everything except for Black owned. So on the day where we're supposed to be boycotting everything, we want to talk about what are some places that you can live affordably, cheaply, not spend all this money so you don't have to have boycotts. Because you can actually afford your way of life. So let's talk about it, Jessica.
Oh goodness. Yes. I'm choking. First and foremost, I haven't spent any money during the whole month of February at either Target or Walmart. Okay. Well, actually, I'll take that back. I did buy something from Target, but it was for my daughter in Texas, and that was the only place that she could get what was the thing called?
I don't shop at Target
or whatever, right? So, but aside from that, I haven't done any. So I've done a really great job. I'm super proud of myself. So I wanted to acknowledge that and give myself kudos for that.
Listen, if you were shopping at Target every day, every week, and you did it once, that's progress. Give yourself grace. I know, we're talking about all these things, and some people are like, what is the point of doing it? Is it really making a difference? Right. Well, Target is losing money. And that's just one. Obviously, there's so many other places that we need to go ahead and target. But I do want to give you a example of someone today on social media who said, they almost failed the blackout already. It was 8:00 in the morning, and they were about to go to Starbucks to get their morning coffee, right? Because that's their routine. But they were like, oh, shoot, it's Blackout Friday. I can't do that. So let me go on social media and find some Black owned coffee shops that I can go to. And that's what this is all about, y'all. I love the reframe. I love the fact that she caught herself, that she said, hold up, there's another way that I can do this. And let me go ahead and support a Black business. That's what this is all about for me. Like, if we do that, that's a win. If you become more intentional, I don't know why I'm moving back and forth like this, but if we can become more intentional, I think that's what it's about. If you can kind of get off autopilot and like think about the things that you're doing and not just go and do them because you're used to doing it, that's a win. That's what this is all about. So she supported a Black owned coffee shop instead. Starbucks don't need our money. Target don't need our money. Walmart don't need our money. All these places don't need our money. But I can tell you, our Black owned businesses do need our money.
Absolutely. Okay.
We can't see you, Jessica. I don't know what's going on.
I'm having camera problems.
Okay, you are B2 right now.
Yeah.
I don't know who B2 is.
Camera issues. It is what it is. I know. So you guys, I'll be just, it'll be just my voice, not my face.
Okay. Well, as long as you can show what we're talking about.
Right. Nope. I'm still good on this end. And I think you're so right. That's what's important here. And the fact that we are able to show that we have the power to spend our money and our dollars wherever we choose to spend them. Right.
Absolutely.
I know I often too think about the folks that are employed by some of these companies and how that affects them as well. And so you really want to take that into consideration as well, right? If we're able to give our dollars to Black organizations, funny enough, I just had a conversation with a nonprofit owner who was, telling me that, I don't have enough money to support, hiring you right now. I gotta do this and do that. And, I was starting to think about it, and I was like, you know what? To be honest with you, the money that you spend with a Black business, regardless of how you spend that money or how much you spend, is supporting that Black business and that family of that Black business owner,
Right.
right? So in some respect,
Absolutely.
that's a resistance right there, right? So
Absolutely.
it's changing your mindset around
Yeah.
spending money for services, right? Versus, oh, wait, if I take my money or grant money or something that I've gotten from wherever I've gotten it from, and I
Mhm.
actually get this Black business to do X, Y, and Z, or help me out with this, that is a form of resistance. So,
Absolutely.
go
And it's
ahead.
necessary. Like, honestly, we don't do that enough.
Yeah,
You know,
facts.
where other cultures do. They make, I mean, you have Koreatown, you have Chinatown, you
Mhm,
have Little Ethiopia, you know,
mhm,
all of these things, and they support each other. Where we are scattered all over the place, and convenience, um, or just habit over intention.
right.
So if I want to get a book, and instead of like, oh, let me just go on Amazon, like, no, what's the Black owned bookstore in my area? You know, I can go to the Black owned bookstore and get this
Mhm,
book. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Or, I have to order something instead of just going to whatever grocery store is close to you. Okay, where's the Black owned grocery store or the Black farmers market or whatever it is? Just being very intentional, because we need these things anyway. You know, even getting gas, I saw somebody saying don't buy gas. Well, no, there's Black owned gas stations. Where's the Black owned gas stations?
mm, deep. Right.
Being intentional,
Being intentional makes all the sense in the world.
all the
Mhm,
difference. So, that's today. And today specifically, but this can be every day. It doesn't just have to be today.
right,
So while
right.
we're living in America, we still want to make it the best America that we possibly can. Because right now, we don't even want to talk about how dreadful it is right now. It's America's ghetto right now. It's real ghetto. It's
It's
it's it's
super
only it's getting worse and worse by the
it's
day. We're
super
being
ghetto right
dragged
now.
through mud. Like, it's so ridiculous right now. So
Yeah.
I know there's more and more of you that's like, listen, we need a way out. We need a change. We need something different. And if that's you, well, let's talk about, Jessica. So where should they go? Where's some places that they can go that are gonna live cheaply, more cheaply, and better quality of life, and not deal with the foolishness that's going on here right now?
Oh, let's take a look. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the video first and give credit to the creator. So,
So the average cost of living in the US is how much? Read that for me, because it's small.
$2,454.
Is that really, that's not even, that ain't my average.
Yeah, not
That
my
ain't my
average either.
average at all.
Not my average either, at all.
I wonder what state in the US they talking about, because let's be clear. If you here on the East Coast, if you here in the DMV, that is, that ain't even rent or mortgage. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, that's yeah,
So we
that's
still
pretty much
got
rent.
gas, we still got car notes, we still got utilities, we still have groceries, we
Right,
still
that's
have,
rent.
oh, I actually want to enjoy my life money. So average here is gotta be like double that,
I agree. Yeah, if not triple.
because that ain't nowhere
I
near that.
agree. That's
That ain't
nowhere
it.
near.
But we'll go with whatever these statistics. So 2000, you said $454.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so what about the other places? So
Alright.
here in some parts of the US, not where I am, that is so much better. We're talking about 2,500 for the US. So Egypt, Lord have mercy. Is this an order of cheapest to, okay? So this is an order of cheapest to most expensive. Now, the cheapest here in Egypt is $356 for the average a month. I can't even imagine.
I
That's
cannot
not even
imagine.
my, that's not even insurance. Like,
That's
what the
that.
hell costs $356 here? I don't know, what is that, gas money? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that's probably gas per month, right? Like, yeah, that's gas
That's
per month.
crazy. And then the most expensive is coming in Mexico at $889. I
Yeah,
mean,
See, y'all don't mess Mexico up. That's what I was
Right, because you know Mexico used to be cheaper.
Mexico used to be cheap, but
All these dang
um,
expats came in there. You know,
yeah,
that's why we got women moving to places like Iceland and all kind of stuff where everybody don't want to go. We're about to talk about that
right,
in another episode
right.
because some of y'all messing it up. You know, black expats, you get into a place. Look at Thailand. Thailand is $876. You know how cheap Thailand used
Thailand
to
is,
be?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, Bali, where's Bali in here? Because everybody, there's certain places that everybody's going. I don't even see Bali on
They
this
don't
list.
even have Bali on the list.
That's interesting.
So they have
Um,
Egypt, Nepal, India, Madagascar.
so I don't know people who want to go to Nepal, but Nepal is $380 a month. India, $440 a month. I can say that India is very inexpensive, and I loved India. Madagascar, I don't know who the heck is going to be going there. Now, let me say this: as I read this list, if you have lived in any of these places, if you are moving to any of these places, if you have thought about moving or living in any of these places, please let me know. We have talked to a woman who did live in Egypt, so we have an episode on Egypt. She did confirm Egypt is very inexpensive, so that's a real thing. We haven't talked to anybody in Nepal or India or Madagascar. $478 a month. Tunisia is $481 a month. Sri Lanka, $547 a month. Indonesia, that's Bali. Indonesia, $608 a month. So Indonesia is $608 a month. So Bali is still up there, is in the top 10. That was rated number 7. The
Mhm.
Philippines, $615 a month. We can't confirm. Philippines is very inexpensive as well. Ghana coming in at number 9 is $615 a month. You know, from what we saw in Ghana, it seems like Ghana is more expensive, but we'll go with it.
Right.
Vietnam is number 10, $624 a month. Tanzania, $658 a month. Morocco, where I was, where I loved, where we will be going back in November for the Reiki and Morocco retreat, is $665 a month. That's coming in at number 12. And I can absolutely confirm Morocco is pretty inexpensive unless you're in the tourist areas, then it's not. Uh, but Morocco, for quality of life and the food, oh my God, chef's kiss. Um, Kenya, $671 a month. Kenya is on my list. Argentina, $702. Brazil, 705. Colombia, we have been told Colombia is pretty inexpensive, $735 a month. Turkey, $794 a month. Peru, $804 a month. Dominican Republic, $807. Ecuador, 814. Fiji, I would think Fiji would be more expensive. Maybe we only hear about the touristy part of Fiji, but it's
Mhm.
$854 a month. I'm
Mhm.
actually kind of surprised about that. Cabo Verde, $854. Like I said, Thailand is coming in at number 23 at $876 a month. And then Mexico is coming in last at 24, $889 a month. Even if these figures are wrong, it's still over half of what we're spending average wise in America. What you got to say, Jessica?
So I'm just mind blown. I
Can you
am mind
imagine
blown.
$356 a month?
Can you
Like,
imagine that? I'm mind blown at just, the 807, the 804, right? Just because those are what was the like 98 prices, I think, for
yes,
rent. Yeah, we were paying like 800 bucks a month for a two-bedroom back in the day in the 90s, right? Like that's crazy for all of
crazy.
your
Right.
expenses.
This was cheap rent back in the 90s.
Right.
So that's still not your cost of living for the month, right? It was just rent. Like when I was in,
Yeah.
it was the 90s. When I was at Howard, um, one place I lived in was like 800 something dollars a month. And that was on the expensive side then because it was near U Street. And then another place that was a basement apartment, it was $600 a month. But again, that was just rent. So imagine spending your rent money for your
Right.
average to live for the month. We
Yeah.
got a question over here. Jessica, do you see it?
No, I didn't. Hold on.
Sabrina Wilkes, she said, hello, just logged in. Is this list all black women? Is this list
Hey,
all black women safe?
it's a great question. That you
You
know
know,
what? That is a question we will answer in another video because I don't know the
well,
answer to.
no, I have something to say about that. So when
Okay,
people ask about it being safe, like, we've interviewed a lot of people in Ghana, right?
right.
And we talked a lot about that. And it amazes me. Well, one, it amazes me that we ask about safety, right? When America is so ridiculously unsafe, right? And most of these places are way safer than than the places that we grew up, than the places that many people live in right now. So obviously that's something that you can check, right? You can look, you can Google, you can see about the safety and things like that. But these places are heads and tails safer than where we are. Out of the places that let me say this, we've interviewed, I don't know how many women, we've interviewed hundreds of women at this point. We've never interviewed a woman that said she did not feel safe. Never. I think we had one interview with a woman who had done some stuff in Colombia, and she had run into some stuff. I personally, it seemed, I don't know, it might have been a little shady. I don't know what was going on there. That's the only women out of all the women that we've ever interviewed that had some sort of incident abroad. But I can tell you a lot of people who have had incidents right here in the US. So that's saying a lot. So I would not worry about safety, honestly. We obviously we want to be safe, right? But usually when we're abroad, safety is not really an issue for us. But there are a lot of black expat communities where, if you're concerned about safety, go to a place that has large black expat communities. Like Mexico certainly on that list does. Portugal wasn't on that list, which also has a large black expat community. Panama does. Colombia does. Colombia is on the list. Colombia has large black expat communities. So some of these places, Thailand does as well. Indonesia, Bali. So there are places on that list where you have a hub of amazing black communities where if you're worried about safety, go to places like that. But safety, I think, is probably the least of your concern. Jessica, anything else you
Oh,
want to
I
add?
love it. No, I love it. I agree, and I see, and I understand, Sabrina, why you asked the question because it's a great question to ask because I think when you live in a space where you are constantly, Ava Laura and I just had a conversation earlier where a situation took place, and it was kind of like it was a microaggression and a macroaggression at the same
Yeah.
time. That was just like you wouldn't even think about it, but then when you start to realize, and you're like, what the heck? Wait a minute,
Yeah.
hold on. They're only doing this to me because of my skin tone. Like, what is going on here? So when you come from a place where that's a constant, then it's a great question to
Yeah.
ask. Like, will I be safe going anywhere else? Am I free to move freely in these other places?
Yeah. We're
But
traumatized.
to we're traumatized,
we are
super.
we are traumatized. And
Super.
and I think it's a beautiful thing when you can go someplace else and realize that your experience wasn't normal. Like it doesn't have to be that way and it shouldn't be that way, but we're traumatized because of the culture here in America. But thank you for your question, Sabrina. Any other questions or comments? I think that when you see those numbers, the stark reality, like how much are you paying to live every month? Go through and look at your bills, look at your bank accounts, right? How much are you spending to live every month? Does it anywhere compare to this list that we have right here? Like we said, at the lowest, we talking about 400 a month. At the most, we're talking about $900 a month. Are you paying anywhere near this to live? Because I can tell you, like we said, I have not paid anything near this since the 90s. And honestly, even that wasn't the case because we're talking about that was rent. So I still needed food to eat. I still needed gas for my car, I still needed insurance. So I'm trying to think at the lowest, like what I ever paid to live. And it's probably closer to the $2,400 figure that we had on here for the US. That might have been back in the 90s, like what the average was. Jessica, what about you? Because for me, I'm trying to think like when I was in college, right? And so the rent was when the rent was 800, so that was like 400 a month, right? Because I had a roommate, had a car, had insurance that was probably what, maybe a couple $100 a bucks, had to eat, that's probably another couple hundred. So maybe, just maybe, if I could get down my lowest, maybe it was about 1,000 to 1,500 a month. What was your lowest, Jessica? Like, if you think about it, like to live
My lowest.
average, and that was just me single. That's no family.
Yeah, I've never been that low. I've never been that low. I can remember my lowest rent. I cannot remember my lowest, how much my average was, but my lowest rent was that 850, I think
Mhm.
it was, for a two-bedroom, and I was happy as a clam about that, boy. I was jumping up and down. I was
Yep.
excited. And so as I kind of, and we're not talking about rent control and stuff like that, but it just made me think of like some of my relatives who only got to pay like $50 or whatever.
Woo.
But anyway, they paying that for a reason. The environment is not very safe. Um,
Mm.
so anywho, um, 800, 850. But I would love to hear from you guys as well. I know you can't see me, but you can hear me. Love to hear how much you have paid for rent, how much you've paid for rent here in America. What was your lowest rent that you've ever paid? I would love for you guys to drop that in the comments because it's great to just have that comparison, and we'll
Yeah,
probably
because
discuss
I
it
don't
more.
think we think about these things, right? Like inflation, hello. And you look at your lowest, like what was the lowest rent? Like what was the lowest average you spent a month? And now what was the highest, right?
Right.
In the difference. Because I can tell you, like my home, 600,000. How much did I pay for the house? I don't even remember. It was like my mortgage off the break was like 4 grand a month off the break. So that's not including again utilities, cars, insurance, medical insurance, groceries, vacations, like whatever else we wanted to do. So, you know, we, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This good old list starting to look real good around there.
Yeah.
And we'd also love
And
to hear
that's
what.
real here in the DMV. Like I know some of y'all in Florida,
Right.
Mississippi, Alabama, y'all like, what? Oh my God. But here in the DMV, oh, it's
Yeah.
easy to pay 4 grand for a mortgage
So Sabrina said 850 in the early 90s.
in the
That was
early
me
90s.
in the
See?
early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, what right. So the,
If
the
we only
90s was
knew.
like, listen, I would love to go back to the 90s. I was happy in the 90s, okay?
If all right, if we only
The
knew.
music was better. Like, I love the 90s.
If we
That was
only
the
knew we
best
were
time
living
for
it up.
music. R&B music in the 90s. What? Hip hop? What? Come on.
It was a time to be alive for sure. It was a time. We were even talking about the other day, having the ability to call somebody up on the phone and be like, "Hey, is so and so there?"
Child. That's wild.
We've gone through a lot of changes over the last century or so. So yeah, it's been crazy. But yeah, thank you guys
Listen.
so much for watching the podcast. Black Women Leave America. No, you can't see me, but it's my turn to have tech problems, right? Avalaura had them, I think, the last time we recorded, and then that was my turn.
You know what? I'm blaming everything and the man in office. I swear. Every problem that happens, I'm just blaming him. Like all these planes crashing, I'm blaming him. I'm
Yeah,
blaming him for everything. Tech problems is him.
yeah, yeah.
Power go out is him.
It's
Like,
him.
everything is
And
his fault.
we never had these problems before. Look, Skype going bankrupt. They're getting rid of Skype. It's him. He did it.
Wait, they're getting rid of Skype?
Skype's done. Yeah.
Well, who the hell uses it?
Oh, that well.
Who's using Skype?
Oh,
I didn't even know people were still in business in Skype.
yeah. Moved to Arizona from New York. Lower cost of living.
Yep.
3,000 before I eat, not including car and insurance. Girl,
That's
that
real. When you
That's
on the East
crazy.
Coast, you are going to pay some money. I know a lot of people who live in Arizona. It's a lot cheaper. It's hot as hell though. I couldn't live there in the summer. That's like hell.
Oh, Lord.
Straight up and down, but
Yeah.
Arizona, Las Vegas, that whole, and then of course the South, like basically all the places I don't want to live are cheaper. You will never catch me living in Alabama. You will never catch me living in Mississippi. I love the beaches in Florida. You won't catch me living in Florida. All the places that are inexpensive, you will not ever catch me there. Texas, no. Just
Mm,
no. And here's the thing that's happening. They're not even inexpensive anymore. That's what's crazy.
that's what's crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So,
y'all,
y'all,
if you are concerned about how much money you are earning a month, if you are concerned about how much money you are spending a month, if you are looking at retirement, right? Because this is when a lot of people are moving abroad, retirement. You have to look at how much money you're going to be bringing in and how much money it costs to live comfortably. You may want to consider moving abroad. Oh, she said, no, it's 3K in Arizona, child, and that's cheap.
this, woo, woo,
Yeah, that's
woo.
cheap. That's what I said. I don't know where that $2,400 number came from. I think that's Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, somewhere. It's definitely not here on the
Yes.
East Coast. I can tell you that. It is not the East Coast. It is not
Yeah, I don't know.
California where Jessica is.
It is definitely not California. Oh,
We
no.
live in two of the most expensive
20,000.
places.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All right,
It's
people.
crazy.
Well, thank
Well,
you. Keep it coming. Let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you continue to support. We'll be back sharing how you can really increase your quality of life by living abroad, moving abroad, expanding your horizons, right? Opening your eyes to options, possibilities that may not exist here in America. On that note,
yep, we'll see you all on the next video.
peace.
Peace.